Yes, my Lord and Empress, love to the international family of Rastafarian black people. This is Honorable Priest Norman Lamont of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church, an educator and the leading priest. And now the time has come for us, for the lion, to tell his own story. And here we are, in the lion's voice, with the Honorable Ras Kwasi. Blessed love, my Lord.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
It was the culture of the house, and I was kind of I was unusually bright as a child. I was very bright, but I was also very forward, bright and face to them. Say sometimes my grandma would say bright and out hard and my motor go catch me. So I was always. It started with a song. There's a specific song that I hated. Um, Lord, Lord, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow,
Okay.
whiter than snow, whiter than snow. And the notion that white was good and black was bad. Um,
Okay.
I had to sing that song. I would complain to my teacher, Sabbath school teacher, Miss Bailey, and she would laugh, but she would make conversations out of it. Um, so there was a consciousness that I was also blacker than the rest, I would say. My
Okay.
skin was darker than most of my
Yeah.
cousins.
Yes.
Um, I was also darker skinned than most of the children in the community. So they would say things like, oh, you're black, but you're pretty, or what a pretty black girl. You know, the interesting thing is that Rastafari, for me, crept in through my love of literature. One of my favorite brethren in the community was a Rastafari man who was a loner, but he was
Yes.
always reading, and he'd lend me books sometimes, or he'd talk. He'd call me Little Doggy, and we'd talk. And then there was this other Rastafari man who was my cousin's father. Um, they He was married to one of my older cousins, and the kindest person I know up to today. May his soul rest in peace. His funeral made the news in Jamaica because they built him a kind of mausoleum, one of the biggest ones I've seen, beautifully done. But he deserved every bit of it because he was a consummate community man,
Okay.
always giving. Somebody passes, he turns up and he's just digging grave, serving food and drinks. He was always a giver. And at the actual party, I remember my first task was to issue the tickets for the artist because it was a 500 only people show, I believe, and every artist performing was being given 2 guest passes because it was really limited.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name, Mr. G's Corno, was it Goofy? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy came, picked up his 2 passes, opened the envelope, realized it was two, and just fling back the 2 pass them palm me like him upset that, oh yeah, give big man this. And I don't know what happened to me. I ran him down. And I remember people saying, what are you doing? But I just thought that he was so out of order and out of place. And he laughed because like I tell you, I was really tiny, and it was a joke, but it was also my entry into industry and deciding, say, no artist now gonna deal with me. So yeah, Edna is, I think, one of the most important institutions in the Caribbean, definitely in Jamaica. If we're going to say that reggae is what it is for Jamaica, if we're going to say that reggae has built an ecosystem, and when we talk about ecosystem, might sound like we're behaving right, and it really, an ecosystem is really all the players involved. So from the creatives, the artists, the producers, the engineers, the publishers, the publicists, the man who has sell the can on the roadside after a party, the man who has set up the stage, all of you make up an ecosystem. So it's a big system, it's
Big.
a big, big network. It's not just who you see on stage that
No.
makes up this industry. So I think if Jamaica really is going to say that a reggae put Jamaica on top, then Edna becomes the most important space for development. A national strategy ought to be investment in music or investment in the creative industries. In the same way, when I see a lot of older brethren who are in the UK were born like in the 50s, most of them are two things: electricians and plumbers, because at that time England was doing those things and that's what they wanted. So that's what they trained. And we don't need necessarily the research institutions are always going to provide research. But the truth is that what we need are more of a polytechnic model where we're teaching people a skill. So so people are naturally talented. Them can sing, you can train the voice. They can't necessarily write, but you can train them to write. And they're
Mm.
naturally lyrical, just in the way Jamaican special. So you can, there is a craft that you can teach and that is being taught. So Edna is doing its job in terms of preparing the musicians, the performers, the creatives. There are other institutions. I'm not at Edna now, I'm at UTech. And my
Yeah.
dream is that UTech is offering something like audio engineering because that is a lack in the industry. So when you look at the needs, and UTech is a STEM university, so how do you employ technology to advance industry is where, but that are my kind of big vision for, not a unique vision because we talk about this with brethren in the industry all the time. You know, in the way that I think reggae was a gift to Jamaica, I think Rastafari was a gift to the Caribbean in terms of the only, and I don't even like to call it religion, but let's say it's like the only religion that rose up post slavery, post colonial offering. And where does it come from? It comes from the underbelly of Jamaica, the rejects, people living on the edge, people having nowhere to live, but somehow reading enough to question the Western Bible that we got. Um, so I've always had a lot of respect for that questioning. I also believe if God made us in his own likeness, then I'm black, so he must be too. So the notion of a black God was always appealing, even while I was in church reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. So I wanted to say this when it comes to certain Rastafari traditions.
Hmm.
I hate to see traditions die.
Yes.
And even though Rastafari manifests itself in different ways now, that's why we have to be grateful for this program, grateful for research being done by people in academia. Because sometimes when I look around, you wonder, children 100 years later know what it was, where it's
Yes.
coming from? So Mama Fire rest her soul. Someone like Mama Fire kind of epitomize the traditional Rasta woman, um, even more so than Sister Mitzi, who is my Kingstonian Rasta woman for me.
Yes.
Um, but it is Sister Walletti who is me say is the one up north, who is really a real Rasta woman.
Yeah.
So having these women who hold the tradition sacred, so that young women coming up can understand. You don't have to choose it, but this is what it is. All right. So I was saying, Kwasi, that on my screen is integrated marketing communications expert, because we're no longer separating public relations, advertising, promotions as different areas of market, but an integrated approach.
Okay.
So, marketing in this regard, if you were to explain to somebody, is really the umbrella term that really looks on how you sell your product and there is a strategy. Um, Public relations once upon a time referred to free press. It's no longer free press. And it really is strategic communication with our publics.
Okay.
And that's really what public relations is. So public relations turns up in organizations in different kinds of ways. You could hear somebody is a corporate communications manager. That's PR. A publicist is doing PR. Public relations manager is the most common term. But these days, a public relations person is doing a little bit of everything as digital media has changed. There was a time when we were just using traditional media, that's the only thing. What was different is that traditional media was controlled by those who owned it. And so the public relations practitioner at the time had to build relationships. You had to build relationships to get your product out there. Nowadays, with digital media, with social media in particular, the artist is able to take information and just share it to its own publics without any help from anyone. There are a couple of things. If you come to me and say that you want a publicist, I start from the scratch. Who are you? Who is the Just Match Kwasi? What drives you? What does your bio look like? So we can rewrite that together based on the questions you respond to. How does what you present of yourself in your photos, does that represent what you say you are in your bios? So all of that for me is connected and not different. Have you done shows that you captured some videos of? So when we're putting your electronic press kit EPK together, you have all of those to present a self. So the product is really the core, is where we start from.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. Well, Haile Selassie the first is the Almighty, and he has manifested himself in physical form and was born as Ras Tafari Enterprises. And he was crowned by his side with Empress Menen. So wait, nobody now big up the natural woman them. Mother Earth, mother of all the earth's children. Well, big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Well, big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Well, big up all the woman with the pretty black skin, and inna the ear you no join the bleaching, and inna the ear you proud of your melanin. Never giving you up to try something. The Almighty I bless you with your shape, bless you with the smile when you put on your face, bless you with the wine when you got in your waist. Real African, look how she a move to the bass. Take time, slow wine now. Take time and slow wine now. Speed up, hand by your knee up and speed up now.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. Elected himself, first rightful ruler. Hey yo, yeah. Hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk. Welcome to Lion Talk and welcome to the Lion Voice Network. We are in Women's History Month and now we are going to shine the light on Black woman of the earth, Empress Menen, and our Rastafari daughters. It's so important for I and I to take time and just appreciate love the feminine energy. This audience is about 75% male. So I overstand, but I give thanks for my 25% female, and those who have been with us for a long time will know at one time we were 95% male. And last year we did do the Empress Menen celebration panel, and we did the month, and we were able to raise to 25. So hopefully we can get closer to 50%, so that we balance. I love balance. I have a lot of sistren, and today I'm going to be reasoning with one of I and I's sistren, and I've known this sistren for a long time. I would say over a decade now, because I met this sister in 2013. So I've known this sister over a decade, and I've seen the changes, the evolution. You know, when I met this sister, she was a literal ballad and not one drop of hair, I tell you. And now you will see the magnificence of the crowd and the whole transformation. And I want to have a very important discussion. We're just coming out of Black History Month, Reggae Month, and the industry, the Rastafari reggae music industry. I'm calling it because there is a music industry, there is reggae, but then I feel we need to have a Rastafari music ecosystem. I'm chanting for that sound because having worked in the music industry, I don't feel compelled to go integrate into women's Siagwan over there. So I'm going to be honest, and we're going to talk about that today with my guests. I feel we need to build our own ecosystem. And if you can have an idea, you look at, the gospel music ecosystem is not really a mainstream. They have their own vibration going on. You have other examples of subgenres that really are not a part of the mainstream kind of functioning, but they have vibrant multi-million-dollar business going on within their thing. So I think we need, as Rastafari, to kind of conceptualize the music industry in that way. And my guest is someone who is very grounded in the Jamaica music industry. She's a pillar when it comes on to the music industry, the creative industry. It's a person who is well connected. I talk about I'm on superpower being the network. This sister of that same superpower. Our network is vast, and I've tested it. So, I'm very excited to have the conversation or the conversation. And the conversation we're going to have is surrounding marketing, publishing, the difference. Because most of I and I just dip on the internet and it's like we tread water and we're not really going nowhere because there's no marketing plan. You have a song come out and then you jump up on the internet, post it in a 3 group and, or 300 group, and then that's it. So we want to help our businesses, our young people get vibrant. We also want to hear about a journey, So Lion Pride, please help I
to welcome a royal daughter. And His Majesty called his daughter in. I don't know what happened, but we're going to find out. A royal daughter of Africa. And my sister, Coleen Douglas. Welcome.
Thank you, Kwasi. Give thanks.
Yes. I'm going to try not to laugh too much in this
Oh,
conversation.
really?
Sister, I'm a
I'm
sister.
known as a joker too.
No, but I'm a sister. So we share so much joy over the years, you know. So if you see me so joyful during this reason, that is why. But we're going to get to business. And as a tradition here on the Lion Voice network, I'm going to ask the I to step into our iretical time machine and to take us to the moment of the I birth and set the context. You know, we want to know, what is the I origin story? Where were you born? What parish? What was it like growing up? Give us the whole settings.
That's interesting. No, you send me to think. I'm I'm a product of the parish of Clarendon. For those who are non-Jamaicans, Clarendon is central Jamaica. What it means is that we have more rivers and mountains, less sea, if any at all. The sea we have is fishing village, really, down on the flat. But I was born in Chapelton, Clarendon, at the Chapelton Hospital. I also grew up in a community called Blackwoods, that's beyond Moko. I know Moko is a name that you hear, and what you hear is not necessarily what Moko is. Moko is bauxite country, so the nice housing stock, good roads, courtesy of the bauxite company, in as much as we might have issues with that. So it's not hard to get to. I went to Edwin Allen first and then Clarendon College for sixth form. So I've given you a little bit of my journey from just into high school. I don't know why I skipped over primary school, but I'm too old to go to that part of it.
But just stick a pin, because for those who didn't grow up in Jamaica, myself included, you know, give us a picture, paint a picture of rural Jamaican life. My father's from Clarendon, you know, my father's from Berrydale, which is right outside of Porus.
So I think rural life is different everywhere. So I can tell you my rural life. My grandfather was a farmer. The farm wasn't where we lived. He had to travel to the farm. Was quite a distance. Right now I would not walk there. It's a big hike if I were to. So we would get a drive halfway down the hill. My uncle would drop us halfway down the hill. Then there's a journey across the river. We actually crossed two rivers to get to the farm. But when you get there, you think, wow. So we did have days when we went to the river and it was a full-on day. Like full on, you're going to cook by the river, you're washing clothes, everything that was harder to wash, like mats and so forth, would be washed in traditional washing way. You're beating it on stones, then making them dry on stones. Okay. We would also pick limes because he had limes, oranges, little bit of ackee, little bit of chocolate. So those things we would help with. So I remember the lime thing was painful. I know why lime expensive. That picking lime business, I've done it. Okay. But I experienced some joys. I think I went through West Indian history in high school because of having that farm experience. Because my grandfather made sugar. Oh. And we would watch the mules, not horses. The mules or donkeys take the thing around like a press. And the cane juice, and then it comes into what we call liquor. The men would drink it that way without any addition in there. And then the sugar would set. So the wet sugar was soft. You could sell it in cakes or balls. I also had Friday duties at home. So he would carry the chocolate is put on a kind of flat concrete. It would dry. Then one of my bigger cousins would parch it. My job was to beat it with the mortar. So that's a part of our rural life where we all had some kind of duties, but your duties were also related to what your mother, father, in my case, my grandparents. I wasn't raised by my parents, I was raised by my father's parents. My
Okay.
grandmother was a school teacher.
Okay.
Actually, my four aunts were also school teachers,
Okay.
whilst my, yeah. So,
That
so
explains some of the brilliance that you expound, because I'm thinking rural Jamaica, but people would think you're born and grow up town Jamaica, in terms of
funny.
your
Well, we always had a challenge, as much as possible to speak. So my grandfather was obsessed with Shakespeare's Hamlet. As a matter of fact, there was a family bus called Hamlet as a result. So
okay.
we were always told, or we were always shown the importance of higher education. My
Okay.
aunts all went to college, so I was in a household where I'm not the first one to have gone university. I might have been the first one from that household to go to UE, University of the West Indies, because we grew up in an Adventist home. So the natural trajectory would have been go to Mandeville and you go to West Indies College at the time. No, not Northern Caribbean University,
Okay.
NCU. As a matter of fact, I have an older cousin, Miss Shirley, who calls me Tony, because from I was young, I just wanted to come to Kingston. So, so she refers to me as a Tony.
Okay.
Um, I came to Kingston in 96, but I want to respond to your question a little bit more specifically. So
Okay.
my country was not specific. My grandfather would also ride a donkey. What I loved about my grandfather is thoughtfulness for animals,
Mm.
because he would come off the donkey if he thought the donkey was tired. He's unloading the donkey, allowing donkey to rest, have some water. Then when he gets home, the first thing is unloading the donkey, taking off the hampers. Then the donkey got a bucket of water. We had this myth that if you drank donkey water, you could run fast. So we would drink the water after the donkey, stupid children we were. Nothing
Wow.
about hygiene, just the notion that you're gonna run
Strong
fast.
immune system, though. Your immune system's supposed to strong. I
It's
mean,
very strong. So yes, the donkey story, but it was, I mentioned the donkey because the donkey is hardworking, also
yes,
the burden bearer of
yes,
animals.
yes.
But it's the way my grandfather was with his donkeys. Very, very kind, very, very thoughtful. I mean, there was a tradition at home. I was sharing with a friend just last week that my grandfather always took his hat off upon entry to the dining room. His seat would always be at the head of the table. It was very traditional. He would also have his food, protein in one, starch in another, veg in another, and the table is set. So my grandmother dutifully did this every day. And we would kind of laze around because my grandfather would now serve himself on his plate. Sometimes it offered him more than one time serving, depending on the size portions. But we would wait around to get some of the things he was eating, and he would always share. Um, there was something in the community. So I played netball for my sports club. So there
Okay.
was a sports club down the road, a football field, cricket. So we had those kinds of community gatherings. I think the biggest community gathering for us was always a church.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know if you know much about Adventist, but my Adventist home was you wake up in the morning at 5, or you were woken up if you don't get up. My
Okay.
grandmother would knock the door, and we all had to go to the dining room around the table. It was like a 8-seater table. Or was it probably a 12-seater? Because it was an extended family home. My
Okay.
grandparents, my aunts, my uncle, my auntie with husband, my uncle with wife. So we had 11 children in that household.
Yeah. So this is not
So
a wealthy. This is not a wealthy household. This is middle class, working class.
yeah,
Um.
I would say middle class, working class.
Yes.
Perhaps to some in the community, it's wealthy,
Okay.
just based on, but it was working class home.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, so we would start our day with worship. There was always family worship. Adventists go with Ellen G. White's teachings. We
Mm.
also had a book that we were given for Sabbath school, the younger ones. The adults also had a quarterly. So devotions were specific. We sang a hymn from the hymnal. We went into the lesson. We were children, we went around in a circle and you had to recite a memory verse. So there was also, and my cousin Bobby is a trip. He would just say, Jesus wept. John 3 verse, and he just said, Jesus wept. And that was the end of his. And then my grandmother would make it fun because we would have discussions about what we read or trying to explain different sections of the Bible. But then we would also be able to do what we call sentence prayer, like on Friday night when it's Vespers. So worship is longer because we had this book called Uncle Arthur's Bedtime Stories, which really told, my favorite story was the story of the two Carolines. Caroline would she was troublesome and bad at home, but at school she was the best student. One day the teacher came home and discovered her. And the lesson was just, you have to be your authentic self and be kind and good everywhere you go. So that was really my favorite story in the Uncle Arthur's series. But we would have sentence prayers. So my grandmother would say, she opens the prayer, and I would say, for instance, thank you for the food. Thank you for providing for us with light and water. My brother, who we thought was very greedy, Joel, would say, and thank you for food. And we bust out a laugh and have to start all over again. So worship was fun for the most part. And
Yes.
yeah, it was a kind of expectation that you have to get up at 5 o'clock. And
Did
after
you
worship, everybody got to working, doing your respective morning duties.
were you thinking about this Christ concept in the Seventh Day Adventists? Is that emphasized, or is it just more the traditions? And were you thinking about the divinity in man as a little girl coming up, or was it more just this is the culture of the house and these things?
It was the culture of the house, and back, I was kind of I was unusually bright as a child. I was very bright, but I was also very forward, bright and face to them. Say sometimes my grandmother would say bright and out hard and my motor go catch me. So I was always. It started with a song. There's a specific song that I hated. Um, Lord, Lord, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow,
Okay.
whiter than snow, whiter than snow. And the notion that white was good and black was bad.
Okay.
I had to sing that song. I would complain to my teacher, Sabbath school teacher, Miss Bailey, and she would laugh, but she would make conversations out of it. Um, so there was a consciousness that I was also blacker than the rest, I would say. My
Okay.
skin was darker than most of my
Yeah.
cousins.
Yes.
Um, I was also darker skinned than most of the children in the community. So they would say things like, oh, you're black, but you're pretty, or what a pretty black girl. There were these distinctions. Okay, so okay. It's not even like I was treated different from any other young child. It was that being so dark was not associated with beautiful. I knew from early that there was something, and my grandfather would explain how black women were defined in order to make us slaves or make our ancestors, to enslave our ancestors. We had to be known as inferior. So the description of the black woman in history books he would share would not have you feeling like you were female or woman at all. So there were things my aunt would make me do. I was Miss Blackwoods. I was put in beauty contest almost like a defiance. Let us see what happens when you go on stage. There were times when people would say things. I remember coming back from Barbados and went home, and we were at a funeral, and somebody said, You look good though. And I said, thank you. And he said, you get blacker though. But by then I was a 19-year-old, very confident, very comfortable in my skin because what Huey did for me, Clinton Hutton, Professor Clinton Hutton, picked on me in class one day. We were doing a course called Ideas of God and Humanity. And he looked up and he said, boy, your skin black, so tell it purple. It's beautiful.
Well, Haile Selassie the first is the Almighty, and he has manifested himself in physical form and was born as Ras Tafari Enterprises. And he was crowned by his side with Empress Menen. So wait, nobody now big up the natural woman them, Mother Earth, mother of all the earth's children. Well, big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Well, big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Well, big up all the woman with the pretty black skin, and inna the ear you no join the bleaching, and inna the ear you proud of your melanin. Never giving you up to try something. The Almighty, I bless you with your shape. Bless you with the smile when you put on your face. Bless you with the wine when you got in your waist. Real African, look how she a move to the base. Take time, slow wine now. Take time and slow wine now. Speed up, hand by your knee cup and speed up now. Della move. Skin smooth so, the stellar move then. Butterfly then, butterfly blessed by the most high. Now do the butterfly. Big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Well, big up all the woman with the natural hair, natural body, natural skin care, natural breast, natural brown or wearing as I am nothing fake will be there. Then tell the little black girl or here a troublemaker. Every weekend them gonna hairdresser. Tell her straight here I go make her feel better. Tell her Taylor Swift she a the real trendsetter. Take the little girl them sit her down pan chair. Tell her that her naps it was harder than a nightmare. Attack her roots with chemical warfare. Tell her relax the creamy cracker get prepared. Take the creamy crack then put it on her head top. Tell her don't move till the fire get hot. Tell her straight here I go put her pant up or leave it on too long. Now she burn up pants spot.